Take your fun full throttle with a single touch. There are places to fly high, swing low, or make the old bell ring. Your targets are in sight. Better your game by playing ball of almost every variety. Need to catch your breath? There's a place for that too. Countless ways to play beyond the swing sets. Breck, we're more than a playground.
Hi, gang. Clarence Buggs here, inviting you to come by Old School Barbecue, 10655 Coursey Boulevard, where we tape the show live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 11 o'clock. Come by and feast on news, sports, current events, love of God and country, and lots of common sense, along with some of the best barbecue anywhere on the planet. 10655 Coursey Boulevard, Old School Barbecue, home of the Clarence Buggs Show.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Getting a letter from the IRS that you owe back taxes can be scary, but it doesn't have to be. Call Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040 today. We'll help stop garnishments, levies, and seizures immediately. With over 35 years of dealing directly with the IRS, our team of local professionals will help you pay the least amount possible. So if you owe back taxes to the IRS, you need help. Call the tax professionals at Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040. Your go-to tax relief.
Oh, really?
Hello and welcome, as the boy y'all only knew what goes on off camera. This week's edition of the Roger Cador Show. Clarence Buggs along with the coach. Coach, let's start LSU basketball. Bit of a tailspin, dropping their third straight, falling to Tennessee by double digits.
Yeah, they're struggling a little bit right now. Mm-hmm. They can't seem to score.
Yeah.
And if you don't score in this sport, you can't win.
Nope.
You know, and and then they're about to get into the meat of the SEC schedule now going forward.
Right.
You know, because they got Wednesday night they have Texas A&M.
Right.
You know, I have one of my former players who is an assistant coach on that team, and so we're looking forward to seeing what happens then. Then they got Auburn they have to contend with. Mm-hmm. They've got to go to Kentucky, I presume. They got to go to Alabama, or they won the road at Alabama, right?
Yes.
So it's still a very difficult road out there.
We talked last week about how this team has been plagued with starting slowly. Same thing reared its ugly head. Tigers fell behind 14-2 as we watch these generic highlights. You make it so tough on yourself falling behind by double digits before the game really gets rolling good.
Well, maybe that's their MO. You're not going to be able to change that overnight, Clarence. Because if they could, Coach would have done it by now. You got me?
Yeah.
And I'm sure he's going to probably tinker with the lineup a little, try to infuse some more offense into the lineups where they give them a chance, because they're playing hard and forcing good defense,
right?
But they just can't score.
Speaking of changes to the lineup, guard Xavier Pinson out for the fourth straight game. It's kind of tough because if I could use a football analogy, it's like trying to win without your quarterback on the field.
Yeah.
It's tough.
It's tough, And, we just got to hang in there and see what happens. Football didn't do good this year, and the people in LSU town need basketball to do good, men and women, before they get into baseball season.
It was ironic that while the offense struggled, just 39% shooting from the field, 21% from three-point range, even good defense is going to collapse when you cannot score.
Yeah, well, you're not going to be able to defend everything.
Right.
So that's why you gotta be able to score. You want to try and score somewhere near a 50% mark.
Right.
It's acceptable to maybe do 48 to 50%.
Right.
That gives you a chance.
Uh-huh.
That means you're almost making half of the shots attempt.
Right. That combined with good defense, and you've got a reasonable chance of winning.
Right, and the good thing about defense, Clarence, is that you can score uncontested points if you play good defense.
Good point. You mentioned that you're sure Coach Wade is probably going to do some tinkering. He admitted this week that, quote, he has to take back some control because he's given them, quote, too much freedom, and they're not doing what they should with it. Can't blame him when you look at the results, can you?
Yeah, well, maybe Coach Wade lighten up a little on the officials. Maybe you're too hard on them, and the players are watching that. All of that could play into it,
Yeah.
You, as a coach, you do want control. I agree with him. But maybe the players you're coaching need more freedom to exhibit what they can do the best.
Anything's
I don't see a lot
possible,
of kids
I guess.
out of control when I watch them play. I see pretty good chemistry. They're trying to play together. So,
I think maybe what he was alluding to might have been in practice or off the court. You're not exercising the discipline that they should. And nothing is more detrimental to a team with a lot of potential than losing focus, correct?
That darn word potential comes back again.
Yeah.
It always get coaches in trouble. Damn potential. They have a lot of potential. It means nothing unless you're able to get it out of them.
Yeah.
I've seen so many people lose their job. Teams don't perform well
Right.
because of potential.
With so many games to play in the game of basketball, is it more conducive than, say, football for kids to lose their focus?
Basketball, you got so much up and down, so much action taking place. I mean, it's hard to lose your focus because everything is quick.
Right.
It's not like baseball or football where you got 30 seconds in between.
Right.
Basketball is bam, 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 up and down. So losing focus is not really something that they could lose easy.
On the other hand, if you come into the game without focus,
That's a little different.
that's a little different, isn't it?
Yes, that's a little different. Because one thing will show up, Clarence, because of the way the game with so much speed is played. If a kid is not focused, it will show. It's going to show. Because the opponents will take advantage of you in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Recently, after this spate of losses, last poll I remember, they dropped to number 19 in the country after that rapid rise to just outside the top 10 at number 11. If you don't have a group of kids that are firmly rooted and grounded, that rapid rise in the polls can lead to your demise, can't it?
Yeah, but
If you believe.
If you believe, yeah. Let me just say this, Clarence. One of the things that has plagued this program is that the early defection to the NBA. You keep losing them, the freshmen, sophomores.
Yeah.
It's hard
Yeah.
for LSU, which is not in the top echelon in the SEC.
Right.
So he's got to go find kids that are hard to find. See, like Kentucky is built in, and my man at Auburn, can't think of Bruce Pearl, legendary for finding good players,
Right.
and getting them to play together. He's just those kind of guy, and the coach at Tennessee really have a good reputation as being a good coach. So they've got good coaches in this league, good programs. Arkansas is going to be a team you're going to have to contend with. I mean, it's just so many good teams.
So what do you say to the person then, Coach, that says, it's been in place a while now. You know ahead of time most of the kids you recruit are only going to be there 2-3 years. So you've got to prepare for that. You have to recruit with that in mind so that you're never caught flat-footed having to rebuild as opposed to reloading. What do you say to that person?
Everybody can't do what Kentucky does.
True.
I mean, when people
Saban.
get a good player,
Uh-huh.
they're not getting, they sure ain't getting 4 and 5 great players at a time.
Right.
They're getting one here, one there.
Right.
And when they had the really good team, they lost the sophomores 2-3 years ago. That really hurt them.
Yeah.
Because had a couple of those guys stayed over, it would have really given them a chance to build based upon having those two guys, the guard and the big guy.
Right. Ultimately, it obviously benefits the NBA, but the ease and the speed with which we allow young athletes to turn pro, ultimately, are we doing more harm than good to the sport?
I say let them turn pro. Let me just tell you why.
Okay.
If you're going to do it with all the other sports, except for football, they don't do it in football.
Right.
I mean, kids turn pro in tennis at 14 years old, soccer at 14, 15.
Right.
Why not basketball? I have no problem with it. Let me just say this. The kids have a better chance of success if they turn pro because of the environment that could be available to them if they take advantage of it. You have a lot of people who are successful,
right?
And if they are talking to them, if they listen. But when you're not in that environment, you listen to Joe Blow, Shoeless Joe, Baby Jack, and those are the kind of people in your ears.
Right.
So that's why I said I don't have a problem with them going pro.
Now, you know what came to my mind when you said, well, if they're going to do it in football and got to let them do it in basketball. What did our parents tell us growing up? If everybody go jump off the bridge, you're going to jump off the bridge too?
Well, they're not doing it in football, but they used to tell us that you can't jump off the bridge because
everybody else is doing it.
Yeah, and the Bible talk about it. Just because everybody's going down that wide and spacious road, they are the one leading off into destruction.
Yeah,
the one going through the narrow gate that you cramp, or the one going off into everlasting life. So, but of course, that philosophy has no Bible principle when it comes to the NBA and professional sport.
Right.
Because it's about money. People want money. They'll pawn their kids off to make the money.
Yeah, sad a commentary as it is what it is. Ultimately, is the SEC seeing more parity now than any other time in recent memory?
It is. Because Kentucky no longer, remember we talked about it, Kentucky, they no longer can get all of the number one players.
They used to rule the roost.
They ruled
down.
it, yeah. Kids ain't going to sit on the bench anymore.
Yeah.
You see, so that's the problem. So I says, listen, the SEC is along with the ACC, the top two conferences in basketball.
Well, when we get our first break of this hour out of the way, we're going to shift gears and talk a little gridiron. Arguably, the NFL, the greatest weekend of playoff football in recent memory. We'll talk about that and more when we continue this week's edition of the Coach Roger Cador Show. Stay close.
Yes, Nick.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Hey, Coach Roger Cador here. There's something about teamwork that brings the best out in any business. When I need a tow, I call Roadrunner Towing. Roadrunner's 4 generations strong and homegrown right here in Baton Rouge.
Thanks, Coach. There's no job too large or too small. Call Roadrunner for quick, reliable, exceptional service. We don't want an arm and a leg. We just want your toes. And remember, take time each day to be a blessing to someone. Thank you.
Looking to get some keys made, locks rekeyed, or a wide variety of new and used safe? Then look no further than the trusted choice of Alfred Safe and Lock. Conveniently located off of Government Street in Mid-City, Baton Rouge. Trust the expert locksmith at Alfred for all of your residential, commercial, and industrial lock and safe needs. Trusted by Baton Rouge and me, Roger Cador, to protect what is yours since 1946.
Some Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge. Some don't. The ones that do know BTR is all about being closer, more convenient, with non-stops and short hops to anywhere their business takes them. They also know not flying BTR means more traffic, longer lines, and wasted time. So if it's about going from driveway to runway with a lot less highway, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport. It's about time.
Caught spiders? Premier Pest Services.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Roger Cador Show, brought to you, by the way, in part by some absolutely wonderful businesses, not the least of which, but is the most recent addition, the good folks at Outdoor Powerhouse, 2323 Florida Boulevard in Denham. If you are in the market for a new or used motorcycle, ATV, side-by-side, personal watercraft, this is the place you need to go. We're talking Kawasaki, Suzuki, Polaris, Can-Am, Sea-Doo, wide range of products, but more than that, South Louisiana folks dedicated to treating you right. 25,000 square foot facility. If they don't have it, they can certainly get it. And if they can't get it, you probably don't need it. Just kidding. Just kidding. 2323 Florida Boulevard. Short hop down I-10 to Denham. Be sure, let them know that you heard about them right here on the Roger Cador Show. Coach, let's talk a little NFL. This past weekend, arguably the best weekend for playoff football ever in the NFL.
Who told you that?
Just an observation. Why is the sky blue?
Why is the sky blue? Oh, Clarence was really a weekend to be remembered.
Amen.
And if any time teams came out to play, they did. When this is why it's never over till it's over.
Yep.
And I remember over 30, 40 years ago, this had to do with basketball.
Okay.
And the legendary basketball coach by the name of Hubie Brown, coaching the Atlanta Hawks.
Atlanta Hawks, yeah.
And he had 4 or 5 seconds on the clock, and he was convincing his team. He said, it's a lifetime.
Yep.
It's a lifetime. You just got to believe it is.
Yep.
And they won the game. They had a guard with a bad eye from Yale or Harvard by Ahmad Hill was his name.
Okay.
I remember it. Hubie was so. My point is, let's come back to football. It's never over with till it's over. It's never over with till it's over.
Yeah. You look at the preceding week, blowouts here, blowouts there, games were not even close to being competitive. The NFL really needed this weekend, didn't they?
Any professional sport league needs something like this to solidify its brain. You know, because there are some issues they've had to deal with on and off the field.
Yeah.
Now, that was negative, but this was all positive.
Right.
And it was done by some of the youngest and brightest stars that the league has to offer.
25
and
under.
Three of them were quarterbacks.
That's right.
Burrows, Mahomes,
and Josh Allen.
And Josh Allen. Those three guys all came up big.
Yep. Speaking of good for the sport, obviously with Tampa Bay losing, there will not be a repeat champion this year. That can only spell good things for viewership for the Super Bowl, correct?
It sells the league quite well because now every team, every city think that team has a chance. This year's our team.
Yeah.
It sells tickets, Clarence. It sells tickets.
Right.
And this is why you want parity. You want different teams winning. You know, you can't, if one team wins all the time, it's not good for the league.
Right.
And I think one of the reasons free agency and salary cap, all of those things play a part where they don't let the richest team buy all the players.
Right.
That's why salary cap comes in, you know?
I don't know how far into your crystal ball you can look. I know you got one. I just don't know. It's overcast today. It might not be that clear. But were we watching a changing of the guard as far as young talent running offenses with Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and Joe Burrow?
Well, yeah, but you know, you usually have that anyway. It's just that you don't have that many quality doing it at such a high level.
All at the same time.
All at the same time. I mean, that's what's so unique about it. And that, you know, now we know that Mahomes had to sit behind guys in Kansas City allegedly to learn the system.
Right.
Josh Allen didn't have to sit. They threw him right in the fire.
Yep.
Burrows didn't have to sit. They threw him right in the fire. And this is what is so impressive. When it usually take 3 or 4 years to allegedly get accustomed to all of the difficult defenses that's going to be thrown at them. These guys are handling it like seasoned pros.
Joe Burrow is turning out to be everything we thought he could be.
He is who we thought he was. But
yes, sir.
It couldn't do it without Jamar Chase.
Oh, yeah.
Couldn't do it without him because just him by himself is nothing. Because he got to have someone to throw the ball to. And they really have, I got to give Cincinnati, they have drafted well.
Oh, yeah.
They're building a well-rounded team. You know, when you draft a kicker in the 5th round from Florida, that tells you something. That you're building a good team. You see? So, because so many games are won and lost based upon a kicker's leg.
One of the things that was on the list of things that stood out was the fact that Joe Burrow was sacked 9 times. Never lost his cool, never lost his composure. It's easy to see that this young man, I almost said kid, this young man is a coach's son. You can see, I mean, it just oozes out of him.
Yeah, he is. But he's had that, he was at LSU that way. That's one of the reason LSU enjoyed the amount of success they did. Because they had him at the helm, and the coaches didn't have to interject things.
Right.
He could handle them at the end of the game. And during the game, he could help make adjustments. And this is one of the reasons when you're loaded with talent around, you got to use it. Now, the thing about him being sacked 9 times, he didn't throw the ball into interception.
Right.
He only took him out of field goal once. But at the end, they were still in field goal range to win it.
What does it say to you about the level of discipline? Because conventional wisdom says if you're playing a team, you get sacked twice. That's one thing. But in this case, after being sacked 6, 7, 8 times, the propensity to just get rid of the ball, try to force it somewhere, throw it somewhere where there's the possibility of an interception there. Most people would panic in a situation like that, saying, okay, coaches are telling me I got to get the ball out of my hands faster, got to get it out of my hands faster. Never saw any of that. He would take the loss, as tough as it was to swallow, but I'm not going to compound the mistake by doing something stupid with the ball.
You see, we look at 9 sacks. What was the equalizer for them to be able to absorb 9 sacks and not kill them? See, that's where people miss, Clarence. And the equalizer was they controlled Derrick Henry. They controlled him. Had they had all those sacks and Derrick Henry go run loose, then it would have been major news.
And the turnovers, too.
Yes, they made a couple of turnovers. Yeah, so my thing is, I looked at it, I kept saying, they could take it because they're controlling Derrick Henry.
Right.
They're controlling him. They didn't
Right.
let him get started.
Uh-huh.
So there it is.
So what now, after all is said and done? Watching him go down in his first year because he was blitzed unmercifully, should the next order of business be shoring up their offensive line?
Well, they did that. It takes time. Remember, just remember something. Tennessee had the privilege of having a week off.
Which can be a good thing and a bad thing.
Well, it was bad, but it was good in terms of they had already analyzed what they could do against Joe Burrows.
Right.
And they knew that they could sack him. And they came out after him. So because that's what happens at that level. They find a weakness in the link, and they exploit it.
Yep. One of the other things that really stood out to me over the course of the weekend, despite all we've been through in recent memory, LSU talent was on display all across the league. Everything from Joe and Jamari to, even though Tampa lost,
White.
Yeah, Devin White.
And the boy at Tennessee, Fulton, the cornerback.
And Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah.
I mean, it speaks volumes that even though we've been through this up and down roller coaster ride of LSU football, we're still producing talent that is second to none.
Well, that's one thing about LSU. They've always done that. So it's nothing new.
Right.
So they're just doing what they usually do.
You got a horse you're going to ride to the end on this playoffs?
I'm not riding a horse because Justice rides a slow horse.
Well, ask Marty if you can borrow that black thing.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my
you
goodness.
You can ride that.
I can ride that. Riding a horse in the desert.
Yeah.
Oh, with no name.
What was that saying? You just threw out
a horse in the desert with no name.
No. You said Justice rides a slow horse?
Yeah, Justice rides a slow horse.
I like that one.
It does.
I like that.
Just remember, you people out there, when you're looking for justice, it's on a slow horse.
Right.
Because it doesn't act quick.
And you're not riding Trigger, and it's not riding
Tonto.
More like
ain't about Tonto.
More like Justice rides Mr. Ed.
Mr. Ed.
Than Trigger. Just saying.
It ain't riding that black thing Marty got out there.
Nope, not that one. At least not today, while it's cold and wet. Another break. We'll get it out of the way. Come back and talk a little Major League Baseball. And for the diehards out there, is a strike a possibility? Could they lose some games? We'll talk about all of that when we continue this week's edition of the Roger Cador Show. Stay close.
Getting a letter from the IRS that you owe back taxes can be scary, but it doesn't have to be. Call Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040 today. We'll help stop garnishments, levies, and seizures immediately. With over 35 years of dealing directly with the IRS, our team of local professionals will help you pay the least amount possible. So if you owe back taxes to the IRS, you need help. Call the tax professionals at Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040. Your go-to tax relief.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with The Rocket Right Show.
We are two busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
Hello, guys. It's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Smart Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge because BTR is so close and convenient, they're always one step ahead, rather than dead on their feet. So, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport.
Have a passion? We've got the place. Gear up for where the rubber meets the mud, or stir up memories of a lifetime. Reach new heights. Gravitate towards something out of this world. Even travel back in time. You might like a little drama in your life, or get in touch with your inner nature lover. Release some pent-up energy while you're at it. There's plenty to do beyond the swing sets. BRAC, we're more than a playground.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Roger Cador Show. Coach, let's talk a little Major League Baseball. The rumors are swirling, and if memory serves correct, there is a meeting scheduled for this afternoon with the Players Association and the owners attempting to head off the issues that could cause a strike. Will there be a strike? You got a gut feeling on this one? What are your sources telling you?
They don't want a strike, I can tell you that.
Right.
But the players are sort of caught. The owners pretty much got the players in a trap here.
How so?
Well, because it's a money issue. The owners want to play the bottom people more,
Right.
and hold the top salary down.
Okay.
And what that does, they want to implement a salary cap.
Uh-huh.
Sort of like the other sports have.
Right.
And the players don't want that. They don't want to. They want to lower the ceiling and raise the top.
Right. How thin is the line to alienating fans if you go on strike? And here's why I ask. Years ago, I was fortunate enough to, for 3 years, go to Florida with TWIB, This Week in Baseball, and cover the Major League spring training. Went to, God, I forget how many cities we covered on the west coast of Florida. Sarasota,
Tampa.
Bradenton, Tampa, St. Pete,
Yeah.
Plant City.
Fort Myers.
All up and down the west coast of Florida. Some of these cities have invested so much for spring training, they have, the Reds have an exact duplicate of their stadium in Cincinnati, just on a smaller scale. But everything else is the same. And I found myself listening to people, because at that time there were rumors of a strike, and folks were seriously upset. I mean, they were borderline neurotic over there not being any baseball. How thin is that line with alienating your fans if you walk out on strike?
Well, they're looking at the amount of money being made and by the owners and the players.
Right.
And they're going to say, how much greed does it, where does it end?
Right.
You know, we support all of this, and you're taking it away from, they're conscious of this.
Uh-huh.
They know they can't really screw this up. So I think they're going to do everything possible. But I think the owners are going to have more of a major victory in this one than the players.
Interesting. This year's Hall of Fame voting has the potential to be one of the most contentious we've ever seen.
Oh, it's really, I think this is where Major League Baseball is shooting itself in the foot here, Clarence.
Uh-huh.
Let me tell you why. I'm going to use one guy, Barry Bonds.
Okay.
As he's affectionately known, Barry Lamar Bonds by me. They all say he was a Hall of Famer.
Right.
Before he got into PED.
Right.
Hall of Famer.
Performance-enhancing drugs, for those that don't know.
Yes. If he was a Hall of Famer, and there was no rules in the book about PED,
right,
why are you penalizing him? If he was a Hall of Famer before he used it. Can you explain that now? They say, we didn't let Pete Rose in. We didn't let Shoeless Joe Jackson in.
Right.
Those were two examples of different rules. There were rules in place. The gambling thing was a no-no.
Right.
You can't gamble. They knew
right.
that.
Right.
But the PED situation came in after
uh-huh.
they started testing. Now,
right.
And then there's a player they're talking about going in, Big Papi, David Ortiz.
Right.
When they first tested the players, he came up, his name came up.
Right.
And then after that, they started making it a rule. You could not test positive or you'll be suspended.
Right.
He didn't never get suspended because the rule had not yet gone into effect.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now they're saying you're going to let David in. You're not going to let Manny Ramirez, Roger Clemens, Barry Bond, Jerry Sheffield, Alex Rodriguez, all of those guys deserve to go in. Where do Major League Baseball say we got to let those guys in? We have already let some people in already that use PED.
How much of this do you think is due to public perception? In many of these cases, the folks we're talking about never failed a test, but the perception among the public was that something's wrong here. This guy's got to be juicing because all of a sudden, clear out of nowhere, his numbers have just absolutely exploded. Is Major League Baseball, or how afraid do you think Major League Baseball is of the perception becoming among the average fan that it's a tainted sport?
And I forgot to mention Sammy Sosa and Rafael Palmeiro. All of those guys also.
All those record-breaking guys.
Yeah, right, yeah. So, but, yeah, the perception is that they're afraid of it, but you got to deal with it. Once the cat gets out of the bag, Clarence, you have to admit the cat ain't in the bag anymore.
Yeah.
You can't walk around.
Yeah.
Once it gets out, let's deal with it.
Newspaper in it.
That's right.
Yeah.
We have to deal with it. And I think that if you be upfront and honest, the fans will know. And my thing is, you got to let those guys in because you already let Piazza in, Jeff Bagwell in, Greg Biggio. They all used them, and they're in the Hall of Fame.
So you end up looking like a hypocrite if you selectively enforce who gets in and who doesn't.
Right. And the other guy, Andrew Jones, whose name came up, was another guy on the list.
Chipper Jones?
Andrew.
Oh, Andrew. Okay.
Andrews Jones.
Okay.
So my point is, what they have to be aware of is that there are only 2 white names on there. And they're not talking about Schilling. They're talking about Roger Clemens.
Right.
You know, and it's alleged he never tested positive.
Correct.
But they holding him. The story I've been hearing from people high up, they said we got a white guy so we can justify it because everybody else is black and Hispanic.
Wow.
And it's a shame that they would go to that extent.
Yeah.
You got to let them in. That's all I keep saying. Let them in and then keep the rules you got now because it's hard for people to cheat and get away with it now.
Traditionally, it's been a situation where unless you do something really, really egregious off the field, on-field performance gets the bulk of the weight in consideration. Ultimately, for Hall of Fame inclusion, should it be what you did on the field or off the field getting just as much weight as what you did on the field?
Well, in the society we live in now, you got to have balance. Both of them have to carry weight.
Right.
Because you need a good person in the community.
Right.
As well as a good player on the field.
Uh-huh.
Because the people who are supporting his salary are family members.
Yeah.
And you don't want kids seeing someone not doing it the right way. You got me?
Right.
So I really think they need to look at it from that angle and go from it. It was a joke the way Babe Ruth them did, womanizer, and some of the thing being drunk.
Right.
You know, what Ty Cobb did, and so many others. They did them, and they talked about them explicitly.
Right.
And you can't be proud about having them in and not let someone else in. Now, I know the era have changed.
Right.
But the same thing exists is that you want strong citizens as well as good players getting into the Hall of Fame.
On another note, I saw starting this season for AAA ball, the major leagues are going to use robot umpires. Good idea, bad idea?
Well, today at 3 o'clock our time, they'll be voting on the Hall of Famer. But let's go to the robot. I don't know about robot. I was trying to get away with that. Clarence, where the robot umpire?
Robot umpire.
Can you figure somebody going to go argue with that robot? God, that's amazing. But you know what? I love the human element.
That's what I was going to say. What about the human element?
I love that because they have video. They can overturn things.
Right.
I don't want a robot calling.
No.
He may be prejudiced against me.
Well,
he may be Marty's cousin.
Let's hope not. But at the end of the day, it is the age of technology, and we have things now given to us through technology that in our wildest dreams we've never been able to realize. So should it be a natural evolution that artificial intelligence makes its way into the world of athletics?
Listen, they have taken away from managers how you play defense and pitch and all of that.
Yeah.
Because of all of the other stuff.
Right.
You know.
Right.
You know, in my conversation with Dusty Baker, he said it's terrible how they have made it where the Ivy League guys who run, his Ivy League guys telling them how to play the game.
Wow.
With the thing they call it. Man, I can't. But with the technology, they're the one that putting people in position where to play.
Right.
And all of that. So, you know.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see. I have yet to see what the robot actually looks like. But it's going to be interesting to watch. AAA, and you got to figure if they adopt it at the AAA level and everything goes smoothly, won't be long before it's going big league. Yeah.
I hope it's not in the next 10 years.
What do you think the average fan's reaction is going to be?
We'll see. If it's in spring training, then we'll get. I can't tell you what their reaction would be. But I know that one thing they will, if the game goes quicker,
right,
that'll be a plus for them.
True.
And I think this is where it's leading.
True.
If we can shorten the time of the games.
Yeah. What's really going to be interesting is whether or not they paint the umpire, the robot blue, because we've gotten so accustomed to shouting, "Hey, Blue, you're missing a good game. Wake up. Take the nap time's over. Wake up, Blue." It's going to be interesting to see what color they actually paint the robot. Final break of today's show. We'll come back and wrap up this week's edition of the Roger Cador Show. Stay close.
I got
it. Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Looking to get some keys made, locks rekeyed, or a wide variety of new and used safe? Then look no further than the trusted choice of Alfred Safe and Lock, conveniently located off of Government Street in Mid-City, Baton Rouge. Trust the expert locksmith at Alfred for all of your residential, commercial, and industrial lock and safe needs. Trusted by Baton Rouge and me, Roger Cador, to protect what is yours since 1946. Hey, Coach Roger Cador here. There's something about teamwork that brings the best out in any business. When I need a tow, I call Roadrunner Towing. Roadrunner's 4 generations strong and homegrown right here in Baton Rouge.
Thanks, Coach. There's no job too large or too small. Call Roadrunner for quick, reliable, exceptional service. We don't want an arm and a leg. We just want your toes. And remember, take time each day to be a blessing to someone. Thank you.
Caught spiders? Premier Pest Services.
Welcome back to the final segment of this week's edition of the Roger Cador Show. Dear friend of the show and your co-host of Tigers Roar, Jonathan Poche, came in to the set mere seconds ago to tell us that Ian Rappaport of ESPN and other athletic fame is reporting a 3 o'clock press conference is set for today to announce the fact that Sean Payton will be stepping away from his coaching duties with the New Orleans Saints. I heard the rumors circulating, but I figured, much ado about nothing. The guy's got so much invested there. He's making so much money there. Had a bad year, but if you look back over his tenure, indications are that things will be better just around the corner. Did this catch you off guard, Coach?
No, he can't win with that team. He ain't going to have a quarterback. He's not going to be able to win. It's probably to his best. I mean, he ain't crazy. He's just not going to be able to win with the quarterbacks he's got in his possession.
Right.
And it's too tough. When you had Drew Brees all those years, you can't live without him.
Yeah.
So if you can't live without him, you leave.
Yeah.
So you can live.
So while it's only seconds old, you and I are finding out about Ian Rappaport's report. Try saying that 3 times fast. What does your gut tell you? Is he more likely to retire, or since, as Ian said, he's stepping away, that he may step back in at some other point?
I think he's not leaving football, but I really give less than about all of this because, it is what it is. Listen, he'll be coaching at Dallas some point if that's what he's doing now. He can't win with that team in New Orleans anymore. It's just not going to be. And I think he can look down the road and see it.
Right.
They've almost exceeded their
salary cap.
And where do you go to get the necessary players?
Right.
And I just think that he looked at it and he saw it's going to be a downhill progression from here on out.
Is that a case of maybe age catching up with Sean? And here's what I mean. When you came to the Saints, it wasn't as though you had this long, illustrious history of winning football and championships. You had to build what you have now, or at least what you had up until a year or so ago. A young man would relish the opportunity to go in, restructure, rebuild, repair the foundation, build something that will last for the record books. An older guy might be more inclined to say, you know what, I don't need this headache, man. I've done too well. My name is too well known. There's too many other places I could go. I really don't need this headache. Is this the difference between a young Sean Payton and a more mature Sean Payton?
Well, he's put his stamp of approval. His legacy is in place. And I'm thinking he's looking maybe take a year off because of maybe it's complication with the contract he's got.
Right.
Where he maybe can't step away right now and go coach.
Right.
But if he stays out 1 year, that gives him an opportunity. He'll be coaching again. I don't think he's that old, and I know how those guys are.
Right.
It's in their blood.
Right.
What else they going to do? You can only play so much golf.
Yeah. Well, with $45 million, you can figure out some other things to do. I'm just saying,
He didn't make it all at once. It costs money to be rich.
What is so interesting to me, and I'm going to ask you what it should say to us, but just this morning, I'm heading out to come over to 10655 Coursey Boulevard, Old School Barbecue, home of the Clarence Bugg Show and the Roger Cador Show. And Gail Benson is giving an interview. And she says, well, I don't know about all these rumors and people speculating and whatnot. If he was leaving, we would know about it. and we don't know anything about this. That was mere hours ago. I think back to Nick Saban's, I got the job I want. I'm not leaving LSU. And the next day, he's coaching the Miami Dolphins. Have we arrived at a point now where the public knows what's coming? You can see it coming if you've seen this play over and over again. I immediately thought to myself, yep, he's gone.
When she said
that,
yeah,
I said to myself, oh, he's already gone.
Well, she knew. She can't say it.
Why not?
Well, she wasn't going to say it. She was going to let him say it and make him feel that she was in the dark. That's the way they do it, Clarence.
But that stinks, Coach.
It does stink, but you go tell her.
That stinks.
Gail, that stink. You may be a billionaire, but it stinks.
It stinks.
According to Clarence.
that you just saw, that was him throwing me under the bus. But I mean, I knew right then, when she said, we know nothing about him leaving, I immediately said in my mind, whoop, that means he's gone.
Clarence, when I heard about it yesterday, I knew he was gone.
So what does that say about us?
That conversation could have never came up unless there was smoke there.
Right.
It's hard for someone to say Marty is leaving unless they know something.
Right.
You can't just pull that out of the sky.
No.
So just remember, when they start trickling out, they already know the answer. There's something going on.
What does that say about us as a society that we've arrived at this point?
We are not as genuine as we were taught to be.
Yeah.
We live, fortunate for us, we grew up at a time when genuine, telling the truth, being honest up front was paramount of importance. That doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah. Speaking of the NFL, is it time for them to revamp the rules of overtime? Should it be, as I would imagine,
they're going to revamp it simply because people are talking about it.
Yeah.
People cave in. This is why I'm so glad I'm not coaching anymore. It's just like a parent calling the administration,
right,
griping and whatever else. The administration ain't going to give you the support. They'll support Nick Saban,
right?
But they ain't going to support 90% of the doing coaches. If somebody go in there and gripe, you got me?
It just seems
so they're griping. They're going to change the rule.
It seems unfair that you fight all the way back to force overtime, and if you lose the toss of the coin and the other team scores a touchdown, you don't even get a chance to possess
but Clarence,
the ball.
It's been that way since the beginning, since they put that rule in.
Right.
And nobody complained.
I think it's been unfair all along.
But nobody.
I liken it to you leading your team, scratching back to force extra innings. One team, your opposition, scores, and they say, well, the first one to score wins the game. But we never got to bat.
No, but the game always been played in baseball. The home visitors hit first, home team bat.
Right.
It's always been that way.
Right.
In football, it wasn't all that. They used to play till a tie, and it was all over.
Right.
That was a rule they put in after the creation of football. You got me? It wasn't always that way. You remember?
Yeah.
Because if the clock strikes zero at the end of the fourth quarter,
and the score is even, that's it. But that inevitably ended up leading to problems with playoff seedings and rankings. I didn't lose the game.
Well, no, you didn't lose it, but what happened is that because of football, the way it is the physicality of it, I like that rule.
Really?
I like it. You don't push people into so much playing 6 and 7 quarters.
Right.
Possibly.
Right.
I like that rule.
Okay. Speaking of things in our society that make you scratch your head.
Oh, my goodness.
And other unsundry parts of your anatomy.
Really?
The NC2A.
Oh, Clarence, don't go there. Please.
NC2A.
Stop him, Josh.
Allowing guys who identify as girls transgender athletes.
I'm getting sick.
If you hear boom, that's Roger. Allowing guys who identify as females to compete against males. Good
Clarence.
idea or bad idea?
Come on,
and
Clarence.
how have we arrived at this point, Coach?
Oh, Clarence, why you asking me? I knew you were going to go there.
How have we arrived at a point where basic biology is thrown out of the window?
Clarence, this is sad. It's so sad I'm not going to talk about it. You can ask me, I'm not talking about it. You know the answer. This shouldn't be. That's the best. It shouldn't be. No, somebody will get angry with me. I give less if they can get angry. This is not right.
It's not right. Because at the rate we're going right now, it won't be long before, in the case of women's swimming, you're going to open up the record books to see who the best of all time happened to be, and every name in the top 10,
It'll be a man the best.
it'll be a guy's name.
He'll change it like Jenner, whatever he changed his name to.
Caitlyn.
He'll
Caitlyn
change
Jenner.
it.
Yeah. But even Bruce/Caitlyn says this is wrong.
Oh, it's wrong.
Males have a distinct physical advantage.
Yes.
And it just boggles the mind. And I understand full well.
This is why I told you. Somebody will pressure administrators.
Yeah.
It goes back to what I said.
Yeah.
They will pressure people in charge to make so nobody will stand up for what is right anymore.
But, Coach, I can't imagine that much pressure.
I can't either. But
if you
obviously
if you come to me and tell me this, Houston, we got a problem.
You won't have a job, they say.
Yeah.
We're coming after you, Mr. Bugs.
Unfortunately,
I
you're
wouldn't
right.
have a job either.
Yep.
I'm on your side on this one.
Amen. Amen. Look, if you're looking for a newer pre-owned ATV, side-by-side, personal watercraft, you can't go wrong, wink, wink, at 2323 Florida Boulevard. Outdoor powerhouse. Suzuki, Can-Am, Polaris, Sea-Doo, side-by-sides, personal watercraft, all the things guys and girls love to get in the outdoors, they've got it there. 25,000 square foot facility. If they don't have it in stock, just let them know. They'll get it for you. No problems at all. Service after the sale, that's where they really excel. As a matter of fact, floor producer extraordinaire Marty took Jane over the other day. That hot black thing that he has between his legs. If Marty will let them work on his girlfriend, you can trust them too. Just saying. Outdoor powerhouse, the latest addition to the sponsorship family of the Roger Cador Show. It has been the classic example of time flies when you're having fun. We are out of time. We got to go. But rest assured, we'll be back again with you next week. So on behalf of Jonathan Poche, Alan Traylor, Katie True, floor producer extraordinaire, the one and only Marty, and of course, the coach, I'm Clarence Buggs, and we look so very forward to seeing you, same time, same channel, next week, of course, with week 20 of the Roger Cador Show. Until then, go Jags, go Tigers, go Saints.